I've been in the kitchen, whipping. I've been cheffin', mix it with my left hand. Water whipping and I'm stirring. Y'all want beef and I'ma serve it. Water whipping and I'm stirring. Y'all want beef and I'ma serve it. I stir it. I hit the pot with a spatula. I mix it, I whip it so good you would think I'm a natural.
All right, well, I'm Sean Crudo, and this is Cheffin with Sean. Our first episode here is going to be taking place in November, so I thought it'd be really great to do a tutorial on how to carve or prepare a Thanksgiving turkey. Most of the time when you're preparing a Thanksgiving turkey, they take long periods of time, hours and hours to cook. The way I'm about to show you can take up to about an hour and a half of cooking on the day of. So first and foremost, the most important thing is that we want to make sure that we're using as much as the animal as possible. So you're going to notice that as I'm taking apart the turkey, we're going to use the bones to make stock, we're going to cook all the meat, and then we actually already have plans for the leftovers lined up. These are all really important things so we cut down the amount of food waste. It's Thanksgiving, and while we're thankful for what we have, we need to think that food is a scarcity and we need to make sure that it's all being used up. So we'll go ahead and get started with the turkey. This is a 13-pound turkey, and we're going to start off, and Jack here is going to help me out. A few things to remember when you're taking care of your turkey at first. We're going to completely debone it before cooking it. Now, Jack, if you feel right here, you're going to feel a ridge.
Okay, yeah.
That's a heavy bit of cartilage, and we're going to cut down on both sides of it and work around the rib cage. There's also going to be a wishbone right here that we need to worry about, and we'll cut around that. So, what we're going to start off, I'll do one side, and then I'm going to have you do the other side.
Oh, sounds good.
All right, so we've got our boning knife. Now with a boning knife, you want to make sure it's a slender knife with a little bit of flexibility so that you move around the rib cage. And what we're going to do, we'll pull that out, is going with that bone ridge. We're going to start right there, and we want to cut as close to it as possible. And as we get down, you'll start to feel the rib cage right in there. Can you feel that right there?
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start moving the knife around the rib cage. Don't be afraid to take small cuts so that way we get as much of the meat as possible. Right here, if you feel it, that's going to be that wishbone I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're just going to take it all the way down to where the breast connects along the thigh and along with the wing bone. And essentially we're going to remove almost half this turkey in one fell swoop. All right, so Jack, right here, do you see this little joint that's right here? Mm-hmm. This is where your wing is going to come into and connect with the turkey. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bend that back a little bit and then cut in between the joints so that way we're not cutting the bone. Even though it is called a boning knife, it's actually not made for cutting through bone. It's made to cut around the bones. And now we've separated the wing. We've separated the breast, and we're just going to work our way down to the thigh and separate that as well. Go ahead and watch your fingers here. Again, pulling up that joint so it exposes itself, and we can just cut right through. And now we have a whole half of a turkey. Move this off to the side for right now. And what we're going to do to cook this is it's actually going to be best if we quarter it. Depending on the size pan that you're cooking with, the smaller the piece of meat, the shorter it's going to take to cook. So right now there's not any actual flesh outside of the skin that is connecting the breast to the thigh. So you just cut that skin, and you've got a leg and a thigh, and a breast and a wing. All right, so I'm going to turn this over to Jack. We're going to do the other half of this turkey. All right. Get rid of that.
Okay.
Now be really careful, move slowly. Starting off with that, yep, there you go. Careful of your fingers. And once you feel that rib cage, you're going to start moving along this edge of it. You want the knife touching the bone the whole way.
Touch it.
Yep.
Okay.
Looking good. All right, so as we get down, we can actually go ahead and,
Get a little bit more.
yeah,
Okay.
there you go. And now you're at that joint. Here it is right there. So pulling that joint out and opening it up a little bit. There you go. So work your knife in right here.
Right there.
You want to stick as close to the rib bones as possible through as much as possible, so that way you get as much of the breast meat and thigh meat, and all of it can be cooked at the same time and eaten all together. All right, so now you're going to run your knife down along this, and there's going to be a ridge that you can feel. There you go.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and separate this. May I see that, please?
Yes.
So, finish off that joint. And then we can take this. Till we find, there it is, that joint. All right, now, so we've gotten most of the meat off of this, but we're still going to use all of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this down further later on, and we're going to put it into a stock pot, and you're going to boil it with lots of water overnight. And what this is going to do, it's going to release all the flavor from the bones and the marrow, and it's going to make a really nice turkey stock. Now from this turkey stock, you can do a lot of things. You can just add a little cornstarch to it, and there's your turkey gravy. You can cool it down, put it into small baggies, freeze it individually, and then reheat it as needed. It can be used to make ramen, it can be used to make chicken noodle soup or turkey noodle soup, lots of different things that you can use it for, and you're using as much of the bird as possible so that way nothing goes to waste. After that, it can be composted. Now Jack here, he has his breast and his wing. Now what you want to do is just go along right there and cut and separate those two. Perfect. And now we have a quartered turkey. What we would do from here, and what I've actually already done over the weekend, is we will put all of the raw turkey into a pot or some sort of container, and we're going to do a brine. Now what a brine is, essentially, some brines have sugar and salt, some of them just contain salt. I prefer to go with just salt, especially for turkey. So what we do is we do 1 cup of salt per 1 gallon of water, and you're going to let this turkey soak overnight. No more than 24 hours, really, because anything more than that and your turkey will come out too salty. So in the meantime, we'll go ahead and put all this there. We're going to go ahead and change gloves. Now on the other side of the table is the turkey that I mentioned that was already prepared. Now when it comes to actually cooking the turkey, you've already let it brine overnight. It's been sit for 24 hours in that brine. You're going to pull it out of the brine, and then you're going to pan it dry. After that, season it however you like. I did a simple poultry seasoning with a little bit of rosemary and black pepper. You don't really need to add any more salt after this because the brine has already added all the salt to all of the meat. So instead of getting all your seasoning just on the skin, your actual turkey meat will be completely seasoned. Once you've patted that dry, seasoned up, I put just a little bit of canola oil on the skin to give it a nice crisp. And you're going to bake it off at 350 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes in a convection oven. Or if you don't have a convection oven, you want to go for about an hour and 25 to about an hour and 30 minutes in a regular conventional oven. What you'll end up with is what I have over here. With the turkey that you can serve to your family. We've got all the different quarters. It's already ready to go. With the breast, you can go ahead and start cutting right into the breast meat and not have to worry about any of the bones. You're still going to have a bone here on the thigh, and of course the leg bone and the wing bones. But you can easily just cut off the wing. And now you've got a nice turkey breast that is nice and easy. Cut, serve to the family. And there's your Thanksgiving turkey. Jack, you got any questions?
I think so. Thank you.
And showing all of us how to make a turkey.
You're very welcome. I do this every year for my family. It definitely cuts the cooking time down at least in half, if not a bit more. So I hope you guys enjoy. Feel free to taste it out. This turkey's been brining over the weekend, and so it's all ready to go.
Well, thank you.
Thank you all very much.